These are the engines, United States Army engines that they was putting on the sidetrack, and they've been rebuilt. And as they put them on the sidetrack, and then remember they put the Korean engines out on the road again. Here we have the Korean office buildings, which housed their offices, and I think they had their hospital in there too. Here one day there was an engine sidetracked, and they was down there putting the rail back underneath them and getting it back on the rail so they could get out of the yards. Here we had an engine, looked like it was greasing it up and getting ready to take it out on a test run that just come out of the shops. These cars, passenger cars here, when I went over there, they had flat bunks inside of them where you laid out flat, and that's the way you traveled with all your gear. Then after a period of time, they brought them back and they took the flat car bunks out of them and they put seats in them so then the person could sit upright. And then later on, they converted them over and put benches into them, which they were doing to these engines. Here is just more or less a bunch of destroyed engines that's sitting on the siding, getting ready to rebuild them. Here's one of the gates that from out of the compound that you go up one side of the track to the PX. These here was office employees. They come outside the office there one day when I was taking the pictures, and they wanted their picture taken. Them two fellas there standing in the doorway, they was working in what we call a tool crib. And this here was taken inside the tool crib where they was all standing around. They wanted their picture taken too, so we just took them all. In this crib they had some small tools which the operators used out on the floor, what's used on the machines. Here we have, I think this is, we took a railroad car and they converted it over into an educational car, which they made it into like a day room, a library or whatever. You could go in there whenever you had spare time and get you some books and study up on whatever you wanted to. This here was taken over to K9 Air Force Base one day we was over there. Looked like some troops getting ready to head toward Japan for R&R. Here was taking a guard mount one day. Me and Bill Rolfus and Ed Smith was standing guard. I don't know who the general was, the captain or the OD or whatever he was that day. And that was Smith's right there to the left. I'm in the center, and Bill Rolfus is to the right. We had about, looked like maybe 25 or 30 guards there getting ready to go on duty that day. Here's a shot of the back shops again, and all the engines getting ready to come out and go out on the road for the day, or for a test run, or for some reason. This here was a shot of the back of A Company and Headquarters Company, and the mess hall was back there behind that building. Here we have, I'm standing up in front of the A Company looking back towards the Quonset huts. The far Quonset hut on the left was the one that me and Bill stayed in, and the one in the center, well, I think all three of them was in front was the A Company. Here's the main gate. One day we was walking around out there and decided to take a picture of the main gate and the sign hanging on the front of it. I don't know who they put on guard that day. There was the U.S. mail room, which, if you remember, I think we got their mail from that room right there. I don't know who the mail clerk was that time we was over there, though. There's the motor pool, the guard shacker on the left. This here was taken, this is that little transit mobile between the two buildings, which they would transport lumber, pieces and hauls of engines or whatever from one building to another building. This here is looking down along the storage rails where they had all the United States Army engines as they rebuilt them. They brought them off and stuck them over on the siding, getting ready to, I was told, to ship back to Japan, but I don't know whether they ever made it back or not. This here was the carpenter shop building, which when the box cars was damaged some way or whatever happened to them, they would put them in there, which they see now, and put new doors on them, maybe new sides on them, or maybe a new floor in the bottom of it, whatever it took. This is strictly for the box cars only. Now, at the other end of this boxcar building, that's where the journal lathe was that me and Bill run when we first went over, and we run it for about, I think a little over a year. It'll be probably coming up here a little later on. Here we have, if I know more about, this is a 765 Pershing engine, which is switching some Army engines back to the back shop. This is the only picture I have of it, which makes it interesting to see. If I know there was going to be that well known, I would probably took more pictures of it, but this is all I have of this. Here we have, looking down between the shops, that back there in the back was another big shop, which I think Machine Shop 2 was in there. Here is a welding shop, was out in front of the locomotive shop and Machine Shop 1 building, which probably Ben Smith would recognize. He worked in there quite a bit. This here is just more or less, and this here is scenery and the mountains in the background and some more buildings that over on the side. This is here was the front end again of the carpenter shop. There goes the lifter that one of the fellows was talking about, running around the corner of A building and tearing down the high tension wires with a boom one day. I forget what his name was, but he was from Hamilton, Ohio. There's a boiler shop and a flue shop. Which is which, I can't tell you right now. And them's all just engines and ready to be rebuilt. Now this here was taken inside of Machine Shop 1, where they're looks like they're boring out some cylinders and turning some wheels for tires. Here they are turning after they put the new wheels on the new sleeves on the wheels, and then they're returning these and getting ready to send them over to a locomotive shop for rebuild engines. Here it's either quitting time or going to work time. I don't know which one it was. I'm standing up on a wooden platform in front of Quonset huts looking toward A Company, which would be to the right, the headquarters company. Here one day we was going to the PX, and they got a bunch of refugees. They're living in this is a creek. Whenever the creek comes up, well, then they would go down the creek with the water. Here we have just a couple, 3 women coming back from grocery shopping. And that's the way they carry their groceries. Here we have a couple of the modern type women with modern Western clothes. It's hard to tell what they do for a living. Here we have a bunch of kids. They're taking a bath in the creek, enjoying the cool brown water, whatever's running down through there. These are just a bunch of kids just horsing around. They see me taking pictures, so they want to get into the act too. Here's a mama-san. She's cleaning clothes. Dip them in the water, put them on a rock, and take a stick and then beating the dirt out of them. This here, another place along the creek. They call it the marketplace, which the men and women would come down there and sell their goods or meat or whatever they growed in their farmland. And here comes a good old honey dipper. He got them barrels full of all kinds of crap. He's heading out. Evidently, looks like he's heading out toward the fields. There's a hot mama-san. It was hot that day. Here we have these little hospitals. They're stuck around all over the place over there. I think Bill, he was just talking to the manager. I don't think there's anything wrong with him. If you go in them places, you're liable to come out worse than what you went in, so it'd be better off to stay out of them. A couple mama-sans walking around and enjoying herself. Here we're back over in the engine backyards again. They got blowed up engines here sitting over the siding. They have them about 3 or 4 different places all through the yard just sitting around. They says an Army engines, they're transferring the engines back and forth to get them ready to rebuild them. This is a turret lathe that Bill and I run when we was over there. Well, not a turret lathe, but a journal lathe. Bill operated one end of it, and I operated the left side of it. And that's what we done. We turned the wheels over there for the box cars. This here was down on, we went down one day to the GI swimming beach just to cool off and play in the water. These Koreans, girls, the only way they could get on the beach was with GIs would take them on. So I think all these GIs, they each one had one. So they took them swimming down there the day we was down there. Some of them had bathing suits on, and some just went swimming in their bras and their pants. Then when they got wet, they just looked like they had tissue paper around them.
Japanese rumba, ay ay ay. Japanese rumba, ay ay. Japanese rumba, ay ay ay. Chotomate kudasai.
Here, they was expecting a hurricane to come through, and they had all the GIs out there one night that was putting sandbags on top of all the flat roofs to hold them down so that the wind wouldn't blow them away. I think after they got all the sandbags up there, the wind never did have anything come around. And I think they stayed up there for about 6 months after that. This is Bill Rothfuss. He was out there taking some snapshots, so I thought I'd just get him in a picture too. They had enough sandbags up there. I think it looked like they were about ready to cave the buildings in on them flat roofs. But they held up. Here's a bus that Red Cross, that we put the railer wheels underneath so they could run this bus up on the tracks and use it going back and forth because the tracks is a little smoother than what the roads was. Here we have a honey dipper. He's back there going around to the residential areas, as we call them, and he's dipping out Dubai and taking them out and dumping them in the fields. And there he is filling the buckets on the back of his wagon, getting ready to head out toward the field to dump it in farmers' fields, where then they would take and put it on their gardens. Here's weight of the A-frame. You remember them? Anything they get in that A-frame, they can carry. No matter what it is, how big it is, if it'll fit, it goes. Here I had a double exposure when I was taking movies. Here's Bill. We're coming back from a PX. We're doing a little swapping on the side here. Either cigarettes, chewing gum, soap, whatever they want, we deal with them. And like you know, these kids over there, they had all kinds of money to buy stuff. Where they got the money, somebody give it to them to buy all this stuff, but they had a lot of money. Here's a closer look at the Honey Dipper. One night, I was working over in the evening there, me and Bill, and some GI, he come down between the shops there one night. He was just singing and happy and drunk on a skunk. And I think he fell in one of these here pits because you could smell him for about 2 miles away. And he was so drunk he couldn't smell himself, but boy, he was just singing up a storm. Now here this farmer will take this pail, which he picks up. He'll dip so much out of one bucket, and when that bucket gets light, he switches shoulders, swings the bucket around to the other shoulder. He dips out of that bucket until the buckets are empty, and then he goes back and fills her back up. And this is what makes her garden grow over there. I took this one day when I was on guard duty, standing out there in front of the main gate. One night we had to go down to the pier to pick up something, and I just took my camera, and it was getting late in the evening, And just to give you an idea how smooth the roads are over there, this is the way the camera was taking pictures. So if anybody had kidney problems, this is the reason why. Here was just going downtown there one day and just people standing around, kids there, and they just took their pictures. Here's a mama son, she was carrying water. She was coming undone in front, so she had to cover up a little bit. Here's Bill, we're back in the same business again. I think here he is taking pictures though, but whenever we come back in the PX, we make a little bit of money on the side. Here's the old farmer. He's plowing his rice pads up, getting ready to flood the water into it and put his rice out for the year. This is the rough way of plowing. This day here was had a USO show over there downtown Busan at I don't know if it's a main swimming pool, but a big swimming pool down there, which Danny Kaye was in town. And since Bill and I, we worked afternoon shift all the time from 5 to whatever in the morning. That's the reason why we could go to these places. So we just got passes and went down and took the show in. And this is all, there's GIs in there, and there's Navy men in there, and there's probably Marines in there, and there's everybody in there. And this here was a show that he was putting on for us for that day. In Danny Kaye's show, he had this girl that was with a troop of them, and she was playing the accordion for him on the tour, and she played the accordion for everybody was singing too. Who she was. And then they had some guys that they brought from all the from the baseball teams. They brought them on. They was on later. Then he had Monica Lewis over there with him, and she was doing some singing. There's Monica Lewis, and she put on a pretty good show. Both of them put on a good show as far as that goes. And the one playing the accordion, I don't know who she was. Here was Thanksgiving Day, and we had a good old turkey, and all the trimmings went with it, and the guys in the mess hall, they baked a great big cake, and it looked like they had about probably about 9 big sheet cakes there, put them all together and iced them up and made us a great big cake for Thanksgiving dinner then. Here we're climbing the top of the mountain. There's me. This is Smitty coming there, and there comes Bill Rothfuss. We decided to go up the mountain there on one side of the back shops, just to go up the top of it and more or less to see what we could see from up there down below. Here's an aerial shot of the shops, railroad shops, and so we just set up. We was up there maybe for about a half hour, just horsing around, looking around. Kind of rocky and bumpy up there. On the other side of the mountain was a harbor, which you could see, and see the ships sitting out there getting ready to come into port, bring some kind of goods or whatever we had to have over there. They'd bring them in. Here I put the telephoto lens on and got a closer shot of the back shops, way they're lined up down through there. The building at the top was the Korean hospital. The silver domes right below that was the Quonset huts, which we slept in. Then there was railroad tracks went up along the side at the bottom of the picture. And this is just another shot of the top. I think you'll get some more characters in up here. How the way it looked rocky and just no good for nothing. That's me sitting there, and that's Dick Kowalski. He's behind me. And I don't know who is taking the pictures right now. And Bill, he's finally coming up the top. He said that's where he had his first heart attack, over there. And this is myself, just acting a fool and posing for the pictures.